Welcome to today's Bible study. We're so glad you've joined us. Each week, we open God's Word together to discover His truth, receive encouragement for everyday life, and grow in our relationship with Christ. Whether you're listening at home, on your commute, or wherever you may be, our prayer is that this study strengthens your faith and draws you closer to the Lord. In each study, we'll explore various topics from God's eternal Word and consider how they apply to our lives today. You don't need to be a Bible expert. Just come with an open heart and a desire to learn. God's Word is living, powerful, and able to speak to every situation we face. Thank you for tuning in. Let's dive in together and discover what the Lord has for us in His Word today. If you'd like to hear more Bible studies, be sure to like and subscribe. And feel free to email BibleStudyChurchOfGod@gmail.com with any questions. Okay, we're so thankful that you all are able to join us tonight. We're going to continue with the Esther story, but first, I want to read us a little story. It's a true story, and the name of this story is A Profile in Courage. Okay, the year in our story is 2023, and the month is September 7th. There is a young Israeli girl named Saper Cohen. She wonders about her place in life. She said to herself, I have no purpose in life. So someone suggested that she get a Bible and read Psalm 27 every day for a month until she memorizes the whole chapter. She also wanted to pray for the first time in her life. Her prayers in the scriptures encourage her to have faith and trust in God. Psalms 27 reads, and we'll read Psalm 27, verses 1 through 14. A psalm of David. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even my enemies and my foes, come upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though an host should encamp around me, my heart shall not fear. Though war shall rise against me, in this will I be confident. One thing I have desired of the Lord, that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set up upon a rock. And now shall mine head be lifted up above my enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto the Lord. Hear, O Lord, when I cry with my voice. Have mercy also upon me, and answer me. When thou sayest, seek thou my face, my heart saith unto thee, thy face, Lord, will I seek. Hide not thy face far from me, and put thy servant away in anger. Thou hast been my help. Leave me not, neither forsake me, O God of my salvation. When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up. Teach me thy way, O Lord, and lead me in thy plain path. Because of mine enemies, deliver me not over unto the will of mine enemies. For false witnesses are raised up against me, and such as breath out cruelty, such as breathe out cruelty. I have fainted unless I believe to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait upon the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, upon the Lord. The last day of the month came, and she had her final read of Psalms 27. The date was October 7th, 2023. Sapir Cohen and her boyfriend Sasha were visiting his parents at their house in northern Israel. Sasha mentioned that he felt hesitant to come, but they ended up going anyway. That's when it happened. Rockets smashing into houses, bullets flying everywhere, people screaming, children dying. Sapir and Sasha hid under the bed. There she prayed, God, please keep me safe. When the terrorists came into the room and found them, they forced them out of the house. Sapir and Sasha were separated, and she was placed on a motorcycle between two terrorists. On their way to Gaza, the motorcycle stopped, and one of the terrorists pointed a gun to her head and said, go to the field. Sapir got very frightened. Her instincts told her to hug the other terrorist in front of her tightly and say, I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid. The terrorist said, I know, just shut up. And he told the other terrorist to forget it and to get back on the bike. And we will head to Gaza. While driving through Gaza, thousands of civilians lined the streets. They saw her riding between the two terrorists. The people tried to pull her off the bike and were going to kill her. The terrorists wanted to keep her as a hostage, so they plowed on through the crowd. Then Sapir was taken to multiple underground tunnels. She described the tunnels as damp, full of mold with lice and bed bugs crawling all over her body. She was thinking the whole time, what happened to Sasha, my boyfriend? If I only had listened to him and not visited his parents, this would have never happened. All these things were just exploding in her head. I decided just to stop it. I still prayed every day, and in living out what I had learned from Psalms 27, I said to myself, I believe in God. And if God sent me to this place, it's because I am supposed to be here. But the question was, why? She said, I saw children that had lost their parents. I saw a young girl just shaking in fear. People starving. Out of all the people I met, the terrorists killed 8 people. This reminded me of the last wish when I was under the bed. I said, God, please keep me safe. If this was to be my last chance, I wanted to do something meaningful in my life. I was thinking it's really bad to be a captive, but I can be the most meaningful person. I just need to choose to help the hostages. When I decided to take the responsibility, I felt empowered within me to accomplish this. To get my group the food that they needed to survive, I needed to make a connection with one of the terrorists. This is a very dangerous thing for many reasons. So I saw a cat hiding along the wall and picked it up and moved it into the center of the room. Most of the terrorists hated the cats and were very violent against them. But one of the terrorists started petting the cat. This man was soon more friendly than the others and helped us with food. One young girl was extremely afraid of being moved into one of the dark tunnels where it was very hard to breathe. Sapir said, I keep telling her that the tunnels were a wonderful place. Everyone is talking about them. Let's go and experience it. The young girl said, I was crazy. But then she said, perhaps I should be a little crazy like you. I learned then when I believed in God, he doesn't promise that I will get everything I want or that I will be happy all the time. But I am promised just one thing, that behind everything that has happened, there is a purpose. So I just thought about the purpose every time something happened. If I needed to be in the tunnel, I will try to do the best that I can and encourage the hostages any way that I can. When the terrorists told me that I was on the list to go home, I didn't believe them. But finally, after over 50 days of captivity, they took me home. Before I left, all the hostages in my group said goodbye. They were crying. And I said, why are you crying? For tomorrow it could be you that is going home. In a few days, I may meet you in Israel. After that, Sapir spent all her time encouraging and meeting with those who had loved ones held by Hamas. Sapir, the woman, even met with President Trump in New Jersey and spoke about her experiences at that event. Sapir said about Trump that she met a very strong and motivated person, and that he would do all that he can to bring all the hostages home. Now, all the hostages that were still alive are back home. Sasha, Sapir's boyfriend, was released on February 2025 after more than 400 days in captivity. Last night, Sasha told me that during all this time, since he was taken hostage and held in Gaza, he prayed for me to find a man to love me, prayed that I wouldn't wait for him. She said, as her voice was shaking, he didn't want me waiting for a man. He thought he would never return home. He didn't believe he would survive. After more than 17 months, the couple finally completed their dream and were married. Like Esther, this brave young woman put herself in danger to help others, and through this, found her purpose in life. Hope you enjoyed that story.
You can almost do a whole Bible study just on that.
Yeah. I know. So now I love reading about brave women, and she is definitely one of them. But now we're going to get into Esther. And she was definitely a brave woman as well. And so here we are. And this is a night that the king could not sleep. And I think it has something to do with Mordecai. Okay? It says the king could not sleep that night and commanded that the books of records be brought and read before him. So here he is having a sleepless night, and he's wondering, what in the world? Mordecai did something for me. He saved my life. Has anything ever been given to him and that would look like appreciation? So let's read. Go ahead and read that, Brother Charlie, if you could.
Esther 6:3. And the king said, what honor and dignity have been done to Mordecai for this? Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, there is nothing done for him.
Okay. All right. So there we go. The records reveal how Mordecai saved the king. So again, the king was taking a look at this. It was found written how Mordecai had told of Bigthan and Teresh, the two chamberlains that sought to lay hand on the king. Basically, they wanted to assassinate the king. Okay. And they were found out and they were hung. The king asked, what honor or reward has been done to Mordecai? He asked the same question. Okay. It's kind of a repeat, but okay. So go ahead and read again, Brother Charlie, if you don't mind.
Esther 6:6. So Haman came in
Okay, hold up. Now remember, this is the second banquet. Okay? Esther arranged for the one banquet, and this is the second banquet. All right? And actually, the second banquet is coming up soon. But in this case, Haman is meeting with the king. So go ahead.
Haman came in, and the king said unto him, What shall be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor? Haman thought in his heart, To whom would the king delight to do honor more than myself?
Right? Wouldn't he think like that? The man is so full of himself. He's so proud. I mean,
He is.
he's going to think, oh, the king wants to honor me, right? Okay, well, I don't think that's the way it is. But it says, go ahead. Okay, this is Haman. Hey man, Haman, okay. So he's telling the king, hey, if I'm the hero, this is what I want. Go ahead, Charlie, please.
Esther 6 and 8. Let the royal apparel be brought which the king useth to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and the crown royal which is set upon his head.
That's right. Okay, so all these things, Haman's think, wow, the king's going to honor me. This is awesome. Okay, go ahead, keep reading. I hate to make you keep reading.
Esther 6 and 10. Then the king said to Haman, Make haste and take the apparel and the horse as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai,
Oh, what a
the Jew,
punch in the face. Go ahead.
that sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken.
Oh, yeah. So how do you think Haman feels now?
Wow.
Okay,
Got pretty heavy.
and not too good, right?
Did we leave a little bit out?
Huh?
Did we leave a little bit out?
Oh, it's coming. It's coming up. We didn't leave it out. Remember, we had
All right.
first banquet. The second banquet's coming up.
Yeah, but didn't Haman tell them that they should take him out on the horse
Well, what's coming?
and
Here we go.
proclaim?
Okay, but yeah.
I'm getting ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, you're getting a little ahead of
Okay,
it.
go
I
ahead.
think so. Go ahead and read this.
The king commands Haman to honor Mordecai. The king tells Haman to take the royal apparel
There you go.
and the horse and honor Mordecai.
Okay, so here we are on the horse. Okay, there it is.
There we go.
You think Mordecai's having a good time, right, Bob? Mordecai is, but Haman isn't. You read that, Bob, if you can.
Haman is forced to honor Mordecai. So Haman took the apparel and the horse and arrayed Mordecai and set him on horseback in the king's street and proclaimed before him, Thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor.
Okay, so he is second in the kingdom now. All right, so Haman has kind of put that right there. Right, so here we go. Now, all right, I'll go ahead and read this. Mordecai is proclaimed in the king's street. The people in the king's street went before him and behind him, crying, Thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor. So all the people are now yelling, and they're really behind this man. And okay, I don't know if they knew he was Jewish or whatever, but I'll tell you one thing, Haman knows now that he's Jewish. So let's see what goes on. All right. Bob, can you read that for me?
Sure. What will happen if Mordecai turns out to be Jewish? Esther 6:13. And Haman told Zeresh, his wife, and all
Yeah.
his friends, everything that had befallen him. Then said his wise men and Zeresh his wife unto him, If Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shall surely fall before him.
Okay, do you understand what's going on now?
Yeah, they're telling him,
That's his wife telling him that.
you're in trouble now.
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember, but what did his wife tell him to do before this?
Set up a gallows.
Set up a gallows, okay? All right, so the gallows is set up. All right, and his own wife is saying, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. All right, so let's go on. All right, so Haman returns home in shame. Basically, he's not feeling too good about this whole situation. All right, so here we go. All right, here. Can you read that, Brother Matt?
Sure can. So this is when Haman goes to Esther's banquet.
Okay, the second banquet.
Esther 6:14. And while they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlains, and hasted to bring Haman unto the banquet that Esther had prepared.
I don't think Haman's that excited about this banquet.
No.
What do you think? What if you were him?
But in part, maybe he's hoping that this is a chance to redeem himself. The other event out on the streets didn't work out too well, but now it's just him and the king. Maybe it'll give him a chance to get back on track.
Yeah, that's true.
If he can just hold it
Yeah.
together, we'll be on track.
If he can just hold it together, that's right. Nobody knows that Esther's a Jew at
Right.
this point.
He doesn't know either.
He doesn't know either. He knows about Mordecai the Jew. Then he must know that wouldn't he know by now that they were related though?
Might not have.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. Just some questions.
Right.
All right. Esther 7:1. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen. All right. So now they're all going to show up and we're going to see what happens.
Dig in.
All right. Here we go. All right. Bob, can you read that for me?
The king again asks Esther, what is her request?
Okay. So if you recall, in the first banquet, the king asked her, what is your request? I will give you everything up to half of my kingdom, which is a huge kingdom, right? Okay, so now he is asking her again, what's your request? So go ahead. Read it.
And the king said unto Esther the queen, what is thy request? And it shall be given thee. And what is thy petition? And it shall be done.
Okay, look at Esther right now. Does she look happy?
Serious.
She looks scared,
Concerned.
stressed out, no doubt. I mean, put yourself in her place. What is she about to say? All right?
So she's Jew.
All right. Charlie, read that for me.
Esther reveals Haman's evil plot. Then Esther, the queen, answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request.
How do you think that made him feel? Okay. Somebody comes to your house and he has a gun, he's hiding, whatever, and he's maybe you're in the other room and your wife comes over and says, please save me. What are you going to do? And the guy's got a gun, he's going to shoot your wife. You are going to say, please, don't do this, or you're going to defend her in some way. So she's saying, please let my life be given me at my petition. So he's thinking, who is doing this to you? Yeah, what's going on? Okay. So let's read. Go ahead. Brother Charlie, read that again.
Esther 7:5-6. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, who is he, and where is he that durst presume in his heart to do so? And Esther said, the adversary and enemy is the wicked Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
Think about that. Oh, look.
It's
I
him.
mean, okay. What do you think, Paul?
He has nowhere to go.
He has nowhere to go. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. Now remember, he has already sent out word to 127 provinces. Basically, I looked it up. Well, how many Jewish people lived in those provinces? And they estimated between 500 and 750,000 Jewish people. They were all brought over from previous wars.
Yeah.
Okay. Nebuchadnezzar's war brought all the Jews over to Persia. Okay. So he has already have people in place to kill those Jews. All right. And now she is saying, you are the wicked one. You are the one, Haman. So that's, I mean, he's definitely stressed to the max. Okay, look, read that, Charlie, in your best.
Haman pleads for his life. Then Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen, for he saw the king was determined to destroy him.
Oh boy. All right. All right, here we go. Haman. So what happens? What happens, Charlie?
He's hanged on his own gallows.
Yeah, the one he had out there for Mordecai, right?
Yep, he fell into his own pit.
Okay. But remember, under the rules, under a decree in the Persian Empire, once a decree is sent out, it cannot be changed. So that all those Jewish people are they're still in the heat of the battle. Okay? So now we're looking for God again to work. So, I mean, he has worked in every chapter we've been in, even though amazingly the word God is not mentioned. Look at what's going on here. Esther has saved thousands upon thousands of her people by her words. Okay. So there's the enemy. That's what happens to the enemy of God in the Old Testament.
I've got a comment before you go to the next slide.
Okay.
So there's different times where you'll see someone maybe doing something suspicious. It's not easy to identify or pinpoint, their heart or their motive and intentions. But we do use the term, give it time, they'll hang themselves. And so sometimes you almost wonder if that doesn't, I mean, it's a similar case. It may not just come just from this statement. And, but also, this ties into the old law of sowing and reaping.
Yeah, it does. You're right. Wow.
So those are my two comments there for that.
Okay, very good. Yeah, that is totally right. Any thoughts, Paul? Okay. All right, let's take a look. All right, here we go. Mordecai. Mordecai is exalted. For Mordecai the Jew was great in the king's house, and his fame went throughout all the provinces. For this man Mordecai waxed greater and greater. Okay, so here God is moving. He went from an outcast to working at the king's gate, and now he's second to the king. Okay, so there's, and then of course you have the queen, and then you have the king that's also on the queen's side, and they're going to have to work something out to save all her kindred. Okay, to save all the Jewish people. All right. All right, so here we go. The king sends a new decree for the Jews. So King Ahasuerus made a decree and sent letters unto all the Jews that they might defend himself. I mean, if you really think about it, he could not stop basically the people that were there a lot of them were going to kill the Jewish people that were around them, And
he said they could take all their stuff if they killed them, right?
Yeah, that's right. So can you imagine? I mean, all right, let's say that rule just went out with I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Our great new governor said, okay, you guys, you can go outside somebody's house and, if they have anything that you want, you can wait till they leave or whatever and go in and steal it.
Yeah, they're vulnerable.
Yeah. So this is what's going on with all the Jewish people. So I got something to say in a little bit, but Brother Charlie, if you don't mind reading this, please.
Mordecai is exalted by the king, Esther 9, 3 and 4. And all the rulers of the provinces, and the lieutenants, and the deputies, and officers of the king helped the Jews, because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went out throughout all the provinces. For this man Mordecai waxed greater and greater.
Okay. That's awesome. All right, Bob, can you read that?
The Jews resisted. Esther 9:16. But the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together and stood for their lives and had rest from their enemies and slew of their foes 70 and 5,000, but they laid not their hands on the prey.
Okay, this is where I got this information. They killed 75,000 people. So how many people did it take to kill all those 75,000? So, it's not just a couple thousand Jews working, against the enemy there. Okay, so no way to know exactly how many Jewish people were there, but a lot more than 75,000. All right, so on the 13th day of the month Adar, and on the 14th day of the same day, rested they, and they made it a day of feasting and gladness. And to this day, there is the feast of Purim. Okay? All right, so let's take a look. Go ahead and read.
Sorry, which month is that then?
Okay, that's a good question. We need somebody to look that up. What month is Adar? I had it written in my notes, but I don't have it with me. Okay, so
We'll look it up and catch back.
We'll get it. That's interesting. It really is. So let's take a look. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, both nigh and far, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month of Adar, and the 15th day of the same yearly. So that's a little bit more information, the 14th and 15th day of the month Adar. And I don't know what Adar is. You got it, Brother Charlie?
Adar is the 12th and final month of the religious year on the Jewish calendar, usually falling in February or March on the
Okay.
Gregorian calendar.
Okay, February or March, 14th and 15th day. So today, you still have the Feast of Purim. And what do they do on the Feast of Purim? They go back and they read the Book of Esther, which is really, really good. Okay, so Bob, can you read that?
Sure. The Feast of Purim, Esther 9:22.
This is what they do on the Feast of Purim.
Esther 9:22. As the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor.
Okay, so that's
That
what they
is
do.
neat. That sounds like a good time, but it's neat because it started with a time of fasting.
I
And now we're
know.
going to celebrate with
Yeah.
joy and eating.
Right, and that's amazing. In the decree Esther 9:32, and the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and it was written in the book. So this is where they get the feast of Purim. Esther basically sent out a decree. I want all Jewish people to do this after me. So this is what she did. Okay. Purim is a joyous Jewish holiday commemorating the salvation of the Jewish people in ancient Persia from a planned massacre by the vizier Haman, as recounted in the biblical book of Esther, celebrated every year in late winter, early spring. That's right? Okay. It is traditionally marked with costume revelry, feasting, gift giving, and charity. Okay. Now, let's take a look at the chapters.
This is going to be good.
At the chapters. Chapter 1, 2, and we're going to take a look. What happened in chapter 1? Anybody remember? It's okay if you don't, because we're going to look at here in a second. All right, let's take a look. Vashti refuses the king's command, and she is no longer queen. Okay, that's chapter 1. Okay, how did God work in the background? I want everybody to think about this, because then we're going to turn it over to each individual person. How is God working in your background? Okay, but we want to go through Esther first. Second chapter. Out of the hundreds of women, Esther the Jew is chosen.
Wow.
Do you see God working there? I do. Okay, again in chapter 2. The king loves Esther above all the other women. He got to meet the other women, but
There was a lot going in the background there, but we talked about that last lesson.
That's
Some of the
fine.
things
Go
that
ahead.
were going on, like, what the guy who was over all the
Yes, yes,
women,
yes,
God gave Esther favor with that guy.
yes, with him,
Yeah.
because she was humble, he said.
Mhm.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Mordecai hears of an assassination plot. He tells Esther.
Now that is really something.
That is something. That started the whole thing.
And God worked it out that Mordecai was in the right place at the right time.
Yes. And that's amazing too.
You know, I remember seeing that in the play.
Oh, yeah.
Up at Sight and Sound, but I wonder how I'll say it really played out.
Right.
Was
Right.
you know, he probably was, must have been sitting down by the gates, because
Yeah, he was.
that's
He
where all
was at the
business
gate.
was going
That's
on
where all
right
the
then.
business- That's right.
And they must have been on the other side of a bush he was sitting by or something. I just wonder how, where were they in relation to him that he could actually overhear them,
God
and
has to
them
be in it.
not really knowing.
That's right. Yeah, not even knowing that he was listening.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. All right, Mordecai. Wicked Haman is promoted above all the princes. There was a reason for that. There's a reason for that. Because he had to be one of the ones invited to the banquets. Right, Brother Charlie?
Yeah.
Everybody with me on that?
Now, he just happened to be promoted, right? He
Yeah.
was just around. He was probably upwardly mobile, so to speak,
Yeah,
trying to get ahead, and was doing a good job at it.
yeah, it
apparently.
was. Yeah. Okay, let's take another look. Chapter 3. Mordecai the Jew will not bow down to Haman. Why is that? Why would Mordecai not bow down?
It was against the God's law, wouldn't it?
Right. Yeah, you don't bow down to
There's a form of
man.
worshiping, right?
Yeah, it is. And you don't worship a man. So Mordecai was not going to do that. He only worshiped God. Okay. So if there's any thoughts online, just stop me and we'll
It's been quiet tonight. No comments yet.
Okay. All right. Haman plots to kill all the Jews in 127 provinces.
Just to get at Mordecai, right?
What's that?
Just
Yeah.
to get at Mordecai.
Yeah, just to get back at him. I mean, think of how evil a person like that has to be, like Hitler. 500,000 he's going to kill. It's crazy. All right. Haman gets permission from the king to kill all the Jews. So the king Haman said, hey, there's a group of people over here that are really against you. Is it okay if I take them out? The king said, sure, yeah,
Not only that, but like we mentioned last week, he was a Agite.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
point.
so
They've
there was-
always been.
Yeah, there was some long-standing prejudice and hatred
Yeah.
there.
Yes. Okay. All right. Haman sends out a decree to every province. Esther and Mordecai fast. No
Change
doubt.
point right there.
Yeah. That's it. They fasted and prayed. So that's an important point, brother Matt.
Yeah.
All right, chapter 5. Esther bravely decides to go before the king. She didn't know what was going to happen. Didn't know. All right, now, let's go to chapter 5 still. The king extends the golden scepter to Esther. Okay, that is, I think God's behind that too.
Oh, why wouldn't he? I mean,
Yeah,
he loved her.
yeah, he did. He did.
I'm sure
But
she was.
what's interesting about that is she had not seen him for 30 days. So if you remember about that, she didn't really know how he was going to react because he hadn't seen her
Oh, yeah.
for a whole month.
And also think of how young she could have been.
Yeah,
Because if she was older, she would have already been married.
she was probably 19 or whatever. I don't know.
Maybe
We don't
younger.
know. Maybe younger than that.
Yeah.
And it would be a terrorizing situation. But she's so brave. That's what I
She
love
can't
about
just call home to her mom or
her.
her
Yeah,
old school teacher or someone
Right.
and say, hey, I need help.
yeah,
She was on
Yeah.
her own.
yeah.
Unless she talked to Mordecai.
She did, yeah, that's right.
No.
So
She did 3 banquets, right?
she did two,
She did 2.
yeah. And the king asked, "What do you want? You know, I'll be glad to give you everything, up to half my kingdom." But she just held back.
Yeah, I wonder
That's-
what that was all about.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
But God didn't have everything in place. He didn't have Haman elevated. You know, all those things had to be put in place. In the second banquet is when it happened. So Haman had to be elevated. Haman had to be present in the second banquet.
Mhm.
So in order for Esther to say he's the man that wants to kill me, all right. Esther invites King and Haman to the first banquet, then to the second. The second banquet is scheduled. Okay, so that's the whole reason why she went to the king the first time to set up the second banquet. Okay, she already had the first banquet. Basically, she basically set up both banquets, I guess you could say. All right, 5. Haman's pride is lifted up. Jerish says to make a gallows for Mordecai. Okay, so, you know,
That was a family member of his, right?
oh, that's his wife.
Is there? Oh, okay.
That was his wife.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, nice wife, huh?
So you got one person saying, hey, let's build a gallows while other people are fasting.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point. Yeah, that's an excellent point. Okay, chapter 6. All right, here we go. I wondered who kept them awake. Do you see God behind that? Do you see God behind that? All right, now we're going to go a little bit further, and then I want to pass something out for each one of us. A little something that I want to give each one of us.
You invite us
Okay.
to a banquet?
Matter of fact, the king doesn't sleep. Haman suggests how to honor a hero. Okay. The king honors Mordecai, the Jew, and not Haman. That's a big deal. Okay. All right. So now we're on chapter 6. We're almost done. We're almost done. We'll probably finish a little bit early tonight. All right, chapter 6. Zereth, I'll say it like that, tells Haman, you shall surely fall. Same thing, fail, fall. All right?
Oh,
So
that's after Mordecai was paraded through the streets, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
didn't they get her
Bad
too, though?
news.
Huh?
Didn't they get her also, the whole family?
I wonder. Probably. Yeah, what did you just say? You said something very interesting, Brother Charlie. What did you just say?
Oh, that this was after they paraded Mordecai around.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. And Haman is not very happy at all. Okay. All right, Bob, read that. Read chapter 7, that next one.
Esther requests her life and her people be saved.
Okay. All right. So we got that. That's chapter 7. So the reason why I'm bringing these chapters up is not only do we want to look at how God works in the background, but I want everyone to go back and read the book of Esther and just look at the highlights of each thing. And while you're reading it, just imagine God working in the background. Okay. The king says, who is he that wants to kill you and your people? Esther said, it says, it is this wicked Haman. Okay. All right. And the king orders Haman to be hung on Mordecai's gallows. Big deal right there. All right.
Chapter
So
9.
what's that?
So there's more of the story. I'm just reading real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
So I am seeing about Haman's sons being ordered to be killed.
Yes.
That's that I at a quick glance, I'm not seeing it about the wife. So this is Esther chapter 9,
Oh, okay.
and somewhere around verse 13, 14. So verse 14 says, and the king commanded it so to be done, and the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons.
Wow. He had 10 sons. Woo. Who knows how many wives he had. All right, chapter 8. Esther begs the king to reverse Haman's decree. Go ahead and read that, Brother Charlie.
Where's that?
That's the request.
Esther requests for people to be saved.
Yeah.
Chapter 8.
And read the next one.
The king sends out a decree that the Jews could defend themselves.
Okay. So let's think about that. What's going on in the background? Haman, there you go, Brother Matt. Go ahead and read that.
Okay, in chapter 9, Haman's sons and all the enemies of the Jews were eliminated.
Yes.
And we do have a comment online from Sister Wilma. She said they did hang his sons too.
Yeah.
Not sure about the wife.
Okay. Right. It doesn't, I don't think it ever says.
Okay.
So,
They could have got her though. I mean, it said all of them.
yeah, it did.
That was her idea.
Yeah, it was.
Build those gallows, buddy.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. All right. All right, Bob, can you read that?
Feast of Purim is still celebrated.
Okay. Now, you can't see it on, you will see it online. But I want to give each one of these to everybody in the room. Now, we'll show this here in a minute.
So this is upcoming visual aid.
It is? It is.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we're ready.
All right. Now,
Look at that.
I want everyone to think about how God has worked in the chapters of your life. You don't have to fill it out now, but anybody online, what I want you to do is I want you to take a piece of paper if you have it, and I want you to write at the top, how has God worked in the chapters of your life? And I want you to think about it, even if you aren't saved. I want you to think about how. I'll tell you what, even if you, my experience is, and I will share that with you here in a minute, God was working in my life even when I wasn't saved. Okay? So if you are not saved, don't be discouraged. Let God work in your life and come to Him. And you can have the same experiences as the brothers and the sisters that we fellowship on a weekly basis. And God has worked things in our lives that we can actually document. Okay? So chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5. Maybe you could even write more. But I want everyone to think about, just like as Esther, how God worked in her life. How has God worked in the chapters of your life? Okay? So, this is my experience when I was not saved. Okay? Chapter 1. God blinds a policeman. He doesn't see the drugs. I'll give you the background. When I was younger, I had a Volkswagen car that was kind of beat up because I was a drug addict and an alcoholic. We were back in the woods and we were capping mescaline. That's a psychotic drug that we were planning on pushing down at the high school. Terrible, right? So, we had these pink capsules, probably about 300 of them. And we were sitting there capping the drugs in the capsules. And all of a sudden, while we were sitting there doing this, a state policeman pulled right beside my car and was looking straight at me. Okay. All right. So how did God work in this situation? When I'm not even saved, I'm the worst of the worst. Okay. So we started throwing all these drugs out the side of the door, out the opposite door, all over the place, pink capsules. Okay. So my chapter 1 is somebody got out of the car and the policeman said, "What are you guys doing here?" And the one guy, he was pretty slick. He said, "Well, honestly, honest officer, we're just waiting for our friends to come to have a beer party." And of course he was lying, but the policeman, he took it and he said, "Okay, get in your car." And Actually, he started walking around the side of the car. And this one guy kind of got up in his way. And then the guy said, we stood there and waited for about 5-10 minutes. And then the policeman said, get in your car and leave. So we left. We drove out of this wooded area and went up on top of this hill. And we could still see the policeman. He couldn't see us, but we could see him. And he was looking right at the drugs. And there's no way you can't see 300 pink capsules on the dirt ground. No way. God, I feel like God blinded his eyes because they were looking for me. They wanted to arrest me. I could have been thrown in prison. There's no doubt. God worked on my behalf. The second chapter, I remember going through my old town was Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania, and I remember driving in the car, and I remember saying to my friends, there's got to be something better in life than this. There's got to be something better. And I didn't know what it was. What could it be? Okay, I'm coming home at 2 a.m. My neighbor stays up all night, runs alongside of the car and says, Jesus loves you. This was like 50 years ago, okay? You know, I never thought I'd even live that long, but to have someone stay up all night till 2 a.m, run beside the car and said, Jesus loves you, I'll never forget it. How can you forget things like that? I'm laying in the back seat, half awake, and all of a sudden I hear this guy. And all the people in the car are, wow, Jesus loves you? All right. So here's how I felt in my heart. I'm feeling the loneliness of sin. I'm playing in bars. I'm an alcoholic. And I actually smell the stink of sin. And that's what sin, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's online, I'm just trying to tell you right now that sin stinks. There's a smell that goes with it. It'll corrupt your mind. It'll corrupt your life. You don't want to have anything to do with it. What you need is God. Okay? All right.
You have a comment here.
Go ahead.
Wilma says, I remember feeling like that too, that there has to be something better in life.
Good. That's excellent. But okay, so you think that there's got to be something better in life, but I even knew I was raised Catholic, so I had a little bit of religious skepticism, you could call, in my background, but I still was trained enough to know that God was the answer, even though I didn't know anything about salvation, but I knew God was the answer. But where? But how? That was my question. All right? So I come to Virginia from Pennsylvania, not only to go to school to learn a new trade, but looking for a church. So I come to a Wednesday night sermon. I'll never forget it. I remember where I was sitting. I'm looking up at the choir. Okay, let's check it out. I listened to the choir. Have you ever, I sing in the choir now, so sometimes we experience the young people singing, but for those that don't sing in the choir, have you ever looked at the choir and noticed when you aren't saved and you look at them, I said to myself, they have something I don't have. I could tell. I could feel it. I could feel it. Their hearts were communicating what God could have for me. Okay? And I knew that I didn't have it. It was just my heart. I was being honest with myself is what I feel like it is. And God was communicating. God was convicting me. Okay? So I called the next day. I called Brother Wilcoxon, and I said I want to meet with you. Can we meet? He said sure. So, but he thought because I was kind of rough looking, me and my brother. He thought we were there to beat him up. Okay, that's what he thought. And I apologize for those that have heard this testimony 20 times, but it's all I have, so I'm going to say it anyway. But anyway, that's what he thought. He thought that I was there to beat him up. Okay, but I said no. I said I just want to get saved, and I felt like when I came to the altar, he said, "Come up to the altar, we'll pray." I felt like this heaviness that was on my back, like it was a backpack filled with bricks. Okay. And then when I prayed, everything, I asked God to forgive me. Brother Wilcoxon said that I had one tear come down the side of my face. And all I said was, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I felt that forgiveness, that burden was lifted. And I said, I'm free. I'm free at last. So what did I do? Maybe I'm a little crazy, but that's okay. You know, I went outside. It was winter. I think the parking lot was not plowed or anything yet. But we got in my Volkswagen. We did donuts, and I was so happy. We did donuts in the parking lot. I mean, we went around. That's because that's the way you feel when you're free. You're free from the sin, the awful life, and God, just like Esther, saved the Jewish people. In a way, she's a type of Christ, you could say. She saved the whole civilization. God looked down at me in mercy and saved my soul. So that's what I have for
So I have a question on that.
Okay.
So from the time that you prayed and until the time that you realized that the burden was gone, how long was that?
I would say 10 seconds.
Pretty quick.
Pretty quick. But you got to understand, an alcoholic and a drug addict cannot get victory over those. A cigarette smoker up to 2 packs too. It could not get rid of those addictions in 10 seconds. It's impossible.
So it was
Only God can do that. Only God. Think about it. You're addicted. You know people that are addicted to things. What do they go? Alcoholics Anonymous. What do they get? Nothing. Right?
And that takes
Cigarette
months.
smokers.
That takes months, and
Yeah.
they're still not delivered. They just stop doing it.
Yes. But the desire was gone for those things totally. And that's how you get victory. The desire is gone. So.
That's a good point. I was talking to someone a long time ago. He said something to the effect of someone asked him, "Hey, when did you stop smoking?" He said, "Well, I didn't stop." He said, "I was delivered.
That's
God
awesome.
took it away from him."
I know.
He repented. He got saved. Started going to church. He was delivered.
And I'll just say the last 40 years have been the best years of my life. I married a wonderful woman. I believe she is as courageous as Esther. Okay. She would hate that if she heard me say that. But I believe she is a courageous woman, and I just love her and I appreciate her so much. She's special. She's special to me. And I know each one of us in here that's truly saved, you have a testimony. And that's what I want you to do is, if you don't mind putting the camera on me just for a second, if you would like a copy of this, you may have it, but I want you to fill it out on your own. And I want you could do this for your devotion. Brother Wilcoxon often says, we are to be thankful. So I can't think of a better way to be thankful than writing down the chapters of your life that God truly delivered you from.
And
So-
speaking of deliverance, we have a comment online that said, "That's true. I couldn't quit smoking until I got saved and God delivered."
That is so good. Okay, so I just hope that everyone enjoyed our lesson tonight. I hope we all got something out of it. Please go ahead and and do the how God worked in the chapters of your life, if you would. I think you'll get a lot out of it, and you will be giving God praise, which he deserves. So at this time, I want to thank everyone for joining us, and we will go ahead and end our Bible study. And next week we'll be talking about Hezekiah, possibly. So we'll see. All right, take care.
Thank you for joining us for today's Bible study. We pray that God's Word encouraged your heart, strengthened your faith, and gave you something meaningful to carry into the week ahead. Remember, Scripture isn't just something we study. It's something we live. Keep seeking the Lord, keep growing, and keep trusting His promises. If today's study blessed you, feel free to share the link with someone who might need encouragement. And if you have questions, prayer requests, or topics you'd like us to explore in future studies, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below or email us at BibleStudyChurchOfGod@gmail.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you'll be notified whenever new studies are released.